Silena Beauregard wasn't a hero. You're right, she was human. She was a teenage girl who made a mistake, got in over her head, and tried to fix it, which makes her a whole lot braver and tougher than anybody who just fought blindly for either side, without realizing that the gods were far from perfect, and also that Luke had a point, and also that the Titans weren't going to have a better solution. A good story, an interesting, dynamic story, features a hero who makes mistakes, who repents for those mistakes, who learns and grows. And we're all perfectly okay with that when it comes to Annabeth trusting Luke and ending up holding up the sky, or when it comes to Nico being secretive and weird literally all the time. But not with Silena, and I strongly suspect that that is because the girl had the gall to be pretty and female and an Aphrodite kid, which makes the entire fandom decide that you hate her on sight. Something really similar happened with Piper, and I get it with Drew, but happened with Drew too. And that sucks, because a good epic story structure literally revolves around fatal flaws, loyalty, hubris, and hard to say what it is for Silena, but it's pretty easy to see it being gullibility, nostalgia, or hope. If we look at her as a narrative parallel to Patroclus, then I would argue that it's willingness to sacrifice, and we see that from her repeatedly. She sacrifices herself over and over again. She lives at Camp Half-Blood year-round to make her father's life easier. She takes on the head counselor responsibility. Explicitly, she says it, because it is a burden that she doesn't want her younger siblings to carry. She's a traitor, yes, but she believes that she is sacrificing herself or her morals, or maybe even her friends, for the sake of a better future. And neither Luke nor Beckendorf, in the end, is her Achilles. Clarice is. And that's what makes Silena one of the most interesting characters in the whole series to me. Rick had the chance to make her a vapid, mean, pretty girl. And he clearly thought about it. I mean, it took him 3 separate books to figure out what her hair and eye color was. He was trying to figure out what to do with her in the first place. And as an Aphrodite kid, it would have been so easy to make her tragedy revolve around Beckendorf and losing her love interest, or around Luke and falling in love with the wrong guy. But instead, her great love story is a best friendship with Clarice, who, by the way, serves as a perfect foil to Silena. Silena, who is perfect and polished and friends with everybody and close with no one, who is likable but believes herself to be unlovable, who has a great love that she doesn't fully believe in until it's too late. And then you get Clarice, who is a rough around the edges asshole, but she's loyal as hell. And she's friends with not that many people, very close with a select few. And she's not likable, but in the end, it's pretty clear that she's lovable. And those two become best friends. And in the end, it's love and loyalty to Clarice, and to the camp, but really mostly to Clarice, that pulls Silena back to the right side in the end. She's trying to bring the Ares cabin to Manhattan, and she does it. And the ultimate sacrifice is herself. It's a tragedy. And what we know from her last words are, I wanted to stop helping him, but he threatened to tell. He promised I was saving lives. Fewer people would get hurt. He told me he wouldn't hurt Charlie. He lied to me. So we know that Luke absolutely took advantage of her. And by the way, Luke is 19 at the start of The Lightning Thief. He's been a senior counselor for who knows how long. Percy knew Luke for maybe a month before Luke outed himself as a traitor. Silena at that point had known him for years. And we know that Luke can flirt, that he doesn't mind taking advantage, that he super doesn't mind taking advantage of a minor. And Silena is 17 in The Last Olympian, which makes her about 12 to Luke's 19 in The Lightning Thief. So, anyway, by attacking the Draken, she asks for forgiveness of the people who died, and they forgive her. They treat her as a hero, ergo she is a hero. And on this note, when Nico is talking to Percy in the woods in The Last Olympian, he mentions that he spoke to Beckendorf in Elysia. And Nico says that Beckendorf is not going for rebirth. He's not going to try again to be up on Earth with everybody else. He's waiting for someone. And we know from both Hazel and Nico, but mostly from Hazel, that the judges in the underworld show you the life you could have had, as well as bits of your life from others' point of view. And so it's really likely that Beckendorf saw the truth about Silena being a spy. And that's assuming that he didn't figure it out earlier. I mean, in Battle of the Labyrinth, when Beckendorf and Percy are on the ship before the explosion, Percy notes that Luke has a bracelet or necklace or something, and there's a little charm shaped like a scythe, and a scythe is connected to Kronos. And later it is revealed that Silena had the exact same scythe charm on her bracelet. It's a communication tool. It's how she's been relaying information. And Beckendorf is her boyfriend and also a metal worker. He would have absolutely noticed any charm that she was wearing and almost certainly put two and two together upon seeing Luke, or even just thinking about it long enough, because it's shaped like a damn scythe. And anyway, we know that regardless of all of that, he trusts her and believes in her until the very end, and I think it's entirely possible that Beckendorf is waiting for her, and it's in her last words too that she hopes she'll get to Elysium to see Charlie. That alone should be our cue that she is a hero. She's a victim who manages to claw herself out of first manipulation, and then threats, and then successfully puts an end to the infighting on her own side of a war to win that war. Say what you will about Silena Beauregard, but she is a much more complex character than the mean girl turned traitor that Rick could have so easily turned her into, and that complexity is what makes her so interesting, and maybe so controversial.